If there are still any idiots out there who insist Islam is a religion of peace, I can only shake my head in wonder. Watching the events unfold between Saudi Arabia, which is Sunni Muslim, and Iran, Shiite Muslim, is like watching Groundhog Day. The same thing happens over and over and over again. Saudi Arabia are now calling for any of their citizens still in Lebanon to get out. War, apparently, is imminent. So, what else is new? Sunnis and Shiites have been killing each other since their so-called prophet Muhammad was poisoned by a Jewish woman almost a millennia and a half ago. Nothing is new under the sun. Muhammad himself was a warlord and a murderer, and Muslims throughout history have literally obeyed the commands in the Islamic texts to follow his example. All of the nations that have adopted Islam as their official religion are known for their human rights abuses, the oppression of women and minority groups, and the violence carried out by their citizens, as well as the atrocities committed by the governments that are religiously endorsed by the Quran. Now, this is regardless of whether they are Sunni or Shia. Violence between the two sects has been bloody and prolific since day one, and there's no way it's going to be reconciled anytime soon. Islam is not a religion of peace. Never has been, never will be. The Islamic texts command violence, and there will always be enough Muslims and Islamic governments who ensure that these commands are obeyed. Why is it, have you asked yourself, that a disproportionate amount of refugees flee from Islamic nations? Both Muslims and Christians and other minority groups flee because the Islamic governments sanction violence according to what is written in the Quran and Hadiths. Our own Smart Traveller website contains strong advice for anyone considering going to many Islamic nations. Warnings like reconsider your need to travel, exercise a high degree of caution, and do not travel are common. Why? Because these Islamic countries are anything but peaceful. We've even seen elements of the conflict here in Australia where mosques are attacked by opposing factions, and not to mention all of the thwarted terrorist attacks. There are a lot of Muslims here in Australia who go about their daily lives paying no regard to the violent commands and intentionally choosing to disobey the Prophet in these matters. And that is a huge relief. I, for one, am so glad there are so many who disobey and reject those teachings. However, no one seems to know who will be the next Muslim to literally obey the violent commands that are explicitly throughout the text. Unfortunately, there's already been countless devotees who have proven they are willing to obey, and we all know that there are many more to come. You know, you read any news report after a thwarted attack, and the Islamic community will all say, "We didn't see it coming," but they will say, "But he went to the mosque and he prayed and he was devout." So despite the fact they read the Quran and preach literal adherence to its precepts, they're surprised. Go figure. This latest stoush between Saudi Arabia and Lebanon is not surprising. It is not the first time Sunnis have gotten aggressive towards Shiites, and it won't be the last time. It's really sad that many innocent lives will be affected by this, but the reality is it is not surprising, and it will continue while ever Islam exists and is not reformed, if it could be reformed at all.